Now, I'm gonna go back. I'll talk about that more if people want me to, but I'll go back to, let's see, in the late 70s. Well, I got out of high school in 1979, and my family and me had a big night out at Mama Spumoni's that night. Lobsters and steamers and everything. We really had a grand old time. I don't know if I can mention the name of the restaurant. I just did. So it was me, my brother, mother, father, and me and Pepe, and I say grandma was there, but we had a great time there. And then we got back home, and a few days later, my father told me about a job opening up at a place in Attleboro, right near downtown Attleboro. It's a small company, and right behind that small company was a much larger company. And then a few days before or after that, I had a date. One of my friends had set me up with a very nice girl that I met at right after I got in a car accident on my way to meet her. My buddy was driving as I couldn't keep up with him, and I was going around a corner, and all of a sudden I hit like a brick wall on the corner. And I got out of the car, I said to my buddy, what do I look like? Am I all banged up? He said, no, you just got a little bit of blood dripping from the side of your mouth. And you just had to get one stitch at the hospital later. So I got in his car, and we drove to the route that connects Rehoboth and Taunton and all those places. And we stopped at the police station. I think we might have picked up the two girls first, his girlfriend and my future girlfriend. We might have picked them up first. But we went to the police station, and we told the police that my car was on a certain road and I got in the accident. And I guess we did that first. They gave me a ticket, and then we went to pick up the girls. And she was a very nice girl, and I dated her for a year and a half. At that time, during which I was working at that small office factory type of combination. And I was also working at Fran, air filter company later on. And I feel much better talking about this stuff than I do about the other stuff. Much better, much more relaxed, and thinking about things that were happening back then. But after we came back home, we dropped the girls off at their houses because I had to go to the hospital for that stitch. And I came in the house, and we used to be friends with this, I can't describe her, but she was such a beautiful person. I considered her my aunt, even though she wasn't a blood relative. She was still as close to me as an aunt could ever get. And her name was Barbara. And she was so worried. I said, don't worry, it's all right, it'll be all right. She couldn't walk or sit without help. She had extreme arthritis, and I never can understand things like that, like why such a beautiful, wonderful person would, have a life like that. She had a good life too. She had lots of friends, but I don't know why that happens to such good people. I never heard her say a cruel thing about anybody. And she was very spiritual too. And she had read Mother St. Teresa of Avila's 3 books. She wasn't no way, it wasn't no way that she just talked about religion all the time. She was very religious. She loved Bob Dylan's three all religious albums. And I bought her some copies of each one of them. She had a tape player because she couldn't use a record player or anything else yet. It had to be a tape with big buttons on it, and she could operate it and listen to her tapes. Used to go up there to, and me and my girlfriend would go to Linfield to visit her. And I was having, at times I would have troubles with my cars, and my car was a Chevy Nova 1973 stick shift, and I used to get stuck on the highway sometimes. And once I got stuck in this car, I remember I couldn't start it up again. I'd have to get a tow, and I got stopped for a ticket one time. And the policeman says, well, I asked her, says, the car's not going to start up again. You wouldn't be able to. Well, he said, well, I can call in for a tow. And I couldn't go see her that time. And so we started double dating, me and my new girlfriend and my friend and his girl. And we went to all kinds of places. And she lived on a hill. I think it was a white house. And she had two brothers and one sister, a father and a mother. And got to know them real well. And at the same time, I was working at a place, a small factory, not an office, yeah, factory, right? Yeah, this big company, this Mammoth company. And I was a production control clerk. And I did a lot of work with numbers. And a lot of work with numbers. It was, I would call mash speed if I made a mistake. Shows up right away on the paper if you make a mistake, because the other numbers don't drive and everything, as I remember. And I had a great boss. Dave Duncan was his, I don't know if I can say his name, but he was a great boss. Not a mean bone in his body. And then there was the girl and the guy who were also, see, they had like units within the company. It was Dave Duncan, another guy, and then this girl who had just had a baby, and she was 21 years old, and she was full of life, and she was really likable, and she was the only one that didn't get laid off out of the new people because of her family situation. The company took a look at that when the layoffs came. They must have realized we can't lay her off. I mean, she's got a new kid, and she wouldn't be able to afford it, so they kept her. But they laid off me and the other guy. The other guy that they laid off was a folk singer. He used to play, and he gave us a tape of his music. And then there was the girl who was kind of like an older sister to me. I don't know if I can say names. Then there was another guy. Then there was another unit that was working in our same office. Two guys, a girl, and the boss. And I don't remember what happened to one of them, but he got hired by someone else. And then I think I'll let this go to 10 minutes. So, not saying much about Mary and Pepe, but anyway, that was in the days when, guess what? No psychotropic medications. And I was starting to get more and more, not then. I wasn't starting to get paranoid nervous then. That didn't come till later. But I was checking things. And so later on, many years later, a doctor told me that there's a certain type of epilepsy that some people have when they check things a lot, OCD, they have some confusion about sexual orientation, and they say they think about philosophy a lot all the time. And I love philosophy. And at that time, I was starting to write too.